I'll remember the time that Superman told a depressed alcoholic the best thing that would be able to happen in the entire universe is for him to stay drinking. Y'all might have even seen this image as a meme before, and I know what you're thinking, and no, this is actually how the story went. Now, if you've ever seen the Harley Quinn show, you might have also seen the Kite Man spin-off show and recognize this guy, Six Pack, who hangs around their bar. Six Pack is the head of a group known as Section 8, who are essentially the rejects from even the Suicide Squad. Examples of this group's powers are from drinking, or welding dogs to someone's face, or another person whose abilities are so horrific even mentioning him would get me demonetized. And at one point, Six Pack wanted to stop drinking and stop being the leader of Section 8, so Superman had to intervene and tell him why he needs to stay drinking, and how much of an hero he really is for it. Turns out this guy is actually a god whose drunken dream shapes the entire DC universe. He does this so the universe stays a thing, because this guy drinking is the reason for anything happening in the DC universe. This is a great question. Is there anybody actually able to beat Plastic Man? And in short, there's not many people able to beat this guy, and the ones that are few and far between. This man's able to rebuild himself whenever he wants, however he wants, on the molecular level. It would take somebody such as Dr. Manhattan, who has godlike power and is able to manipulate things on the molecular level, to beat him. Or possibly someone like Captain Atom, and that's still only possibly, or Firestorm. Other than people able to manipulate atoms, it takes multiversal godlike threats to put him down for good. Because without destroying this man down to the atom, Plastic Man's unstable molecules are going to rebuild him into whatever form he wants to be in. That's right, this man is able to make himself into whatever form he wants and uses that power to be as silly as possible. Batman said before he's glad Plastic Man has turned over to their side, because this goofy guy is without a doubt one of the top 3 most dangerous things on Earth. Here's him putting down one of the other 3 most dangerous people on Earth, the Flash, effortlessly. Disguises himself as whatever and was essential in defeating Superman and Injustice. So this is a really good one. Out of these 4 rows, which one's the most evil? Now, the Decepticons are bad guys. Megatron thought what he was doing was fine for him and his, and Starscream was mainly following orders. They're bad, it's not them though. Vicious murderer who's bad for the fun of it, and someone who wants to take away free will throughout the entire multiverse. He wanted to torture people so much so that they made an entire universe where things would be harder for everybody else. Though these two are just really petty and only do bad things because they're really petty against that one person. Now, the Old Republic won domination over the entire galaxy, though Darkseid has them beat by himself. Sidious, Pledgius, Bane, doesn't matter, they're all out-eviled by him. And if you think about it, Reed Richards did the exact same thing Darkseid did, making a universe where everything was harder on everyone else. Mephisto's actually the devil. Cletus is a mass murderer for fun, though no one here is more evil than Thanos. Helped an old woman get across the street so that someone else wouldn't find the cure for cancer. Tortures a dude every year on his birthday just for the fun of it. It's this row by a mile. So here we have which of these versions of Thanos is better. The MCU Thanos that thinks he's doing the right thing by wiping out half of the universe. Or the funny version of Thanos who goes out of his way to make sure everybody in the Marvel Universe has a bad time because he's a bad guy for the fun of it. MCU Thanos had some of the most memorable dialogue throughout the MCU. And I had a ton of people wondering in my previous video why I said Thanos was the most evil person out there. And one of y'all already said it for me. This man goes out of his way just to make sure everybody has a horrible time. This random dude, David, gets bullied by him every year on his birthday just because Thanos wants to go out of his way to bully a random dude. Helped an old woman get across the street just to affect another woman's future so that she wouldn't find world peace or the cure for cancer. This man killed a god and then bullied the race of aliens that worshipped it because he wanted to see what they think would happen when they die. Unlike this version of Thanos who asked Thor for some head, or I don't know, I don't watch the MCU. Is this'n. So with the filming of Spider-Man Brave New Day underway, there's been reports of people seeing Tom Holland shooting action scenes around their towns, and there's been a ton of hype around it, such as the amount of people who want to see Tom Holland in the symbiote suit. Though after No Way Home, there's a big thing that not enough people are talking about. Anybody notice we're on the path to getting this Peter Parker? Seen someone today say that they can't wait to see Paul be introduced in the new movie. Now, for those of y'all who don't know who Paul is or what I'm talking about, I'm gonna explain real quick. Feel as though this panel sums up perfectly. Spider-Man's gone for them for multiple years and goes back to Mary Jane. Now, Mary Jane was Spider-Man's wife. Emphasis on was. And after Spider-Man was gone for what was years for Mary Jane, she ended up marrying Paul. And the Ultimate Spider-Man version of Peter became extremely depressed and is the guy who you see here from Into the Spider-Verse. And in a universe where nobody even knows or gives a darn about who Spider-Man is, I feel as though we're heading to this one. What do you guys think, though? Recently, I made a video talking about which one of these rows had the most evil villains. I saw somebody say that the Joker's the worst villain out of everybody here. And you're right, even though the actual embodiment of evil is right beside him, Joker's still probably the most evil person on here. For example, Joker once tricked Mr. Mxyzptlk out of 99% of his 7th dimensional power, which turned the Joker into the God Emperor of the entire universe and used that power to torture everybody in it. Became a multiversal evil, and made unique torture methods to kill Batman and others infinitely. If you know Joker, you probably know the Killing Joke, where he not only shot and paralyzed Batgirl, he also stripped her father and then proceeded to show him everything that he did to her while she was unconscious, which was exactly as horrific as it sounds. And for the hell of it, let's throw the Batman who laughs in as a variant, who made it his goal to torture everyone across the multiverse and recruited every other evil Batman to get more torturing done. He nuked Metropolis, then tricked Superman into killing his wife and enslaving humanity. You're right, Joker's probably the most evil person here. What do you guys think, though? So here we have, I bet there's not a single person you're able to think of who's able to beat this entire squad. Well, I beg to differ. Who exactly is the smartest person in the DC universe? There's some debatable answers, such as Brainiac, who has a higher intellect than a majority of people in the DC universe. Or Metron, who's trying to acquire infinite knowledge across the multiverse. Or Mobius from the 6th dimension, who makes this thing that Metron uses to acquire his knowledge. Monkey. There's an argument to be made for the Boy Scout, who has a higher intellect and thinks incredibly fast. He's not as smart as Martian Manhunter, and speedsters think much more quickly. And it's not Lex Luthor, who's always been proven to get outwitted. Now, if we're talking smartest person from Earth, though, Justice League Action actually did a really neat episode on this. I'll tell you right now, the brain doesn't win, and neither does the monkey. Batman's a genius fighter and strategist who faces people like the Riddler daily. Though in that episode, they were trying to escape from performing tasks to determine who was the smartest person from Earth. Batman realized Mr. Terrific was their only shot at winning, so Mr. Terrific won the Smartest Guy award. Though he gets stomped by Wally West in the Mobius chair, who thinks as quickly as a primal force such as a speed force will allow, plus infinite knowledge. It's this version of Wally. Though tell me what you think. Now this one is actually really hard, and not for the reason you might think. I wouldn't even need most of these. Hell, Mjolnir sees everything that you've ever done and everything you ever will do to determine if you're worthy, so I wouldn't be able to pick them up. Just be a big magic hammer I'm not able to move. Nah, the reason why this is tough is because of these two right here, the Infinity Gauntlet and the Green Lantern Ring. It'd be neat having people only be able to tell you the truth too, though I would have to have a lasso and no. Now, it doesn't say that the Infinity Gauntlet would have the stones, though we'll say it does. There's one other problem with the Infinity Gauntlet, too. I'm a normal human. I'm probably not going to be doing much traveling between dimensions, so I don't really have to worry about that. Now, what I mean is there's 3 Reed Richards pictured here with their own Infinity Gauntlets that are able to make them do anything they want in their own universe. One of these will only work in its own universe. A Green Lantern's ring, though, lets you construct anything you're able to imagine. Throughout all time and dimensions, it works as long as it has power. Though having a gauntlet that works would mean I decide anything in reality. With the stones, the gauntlet. If not, the ring. So I just had surgery yesterday. I'm not feeling too great, so I'm going to make this one as quick as possible. Out of these 4, which rivalry runs the deepest? It's not Kingpin and Daredevil. It doesn't matter who's doing a bad thing. The Daredevil's going to try and stop him. If there's someone in New York, he's going to try his best to make sure they don't do the bad. Same with Spider-Man. It's not Lex Luthor and Superman, surprisingly here, I know, though Lex really only wants Superman's powers, and that's about it. And even though Lex is extremely petty towards Superman, it's still not them. Lex has gotten over it before. Now, there'd still be a Kingpin without the Daredevil. There'd still be Lex Luthor without Superman. Though the second that there's no more Batman, the Joker doesn't exist anymore. Now, all 3 of these have only gone insane because of all 3 of these. There's been a Spider-Man that's existed without the Green Goblin, though the Joker only does what he does to mess with Batman. Even in alternate universes, Thomas Wayne still fights his wife as the Joker. It's them. So here we have, how far does Hulk make it running this gauntlet? Starting with Juggernaut, then Red Hulk, the Abomination, Thanos, and then finally ending on Darkseid. Juggernaut, Red Hulk, and the Abomination would all get beat down from the Hulk getting angrier and angrier. And even though movie Thanos beat a young Hulk, he's still going to have to deal with Hulk regenerating and just putting the hands to him over and over and over. Now I'm going to guess here that they're not meaning true Darkseid, because if that's true Darkseid, then the entire universe loses. Though if that's just Darkseid's avatar and they're going one after the other, say this is Worldbreaker Hulk, Hulk is going to get more and more mad as the fights go on. He is going to no-diff the entire board. Darkseid might be a god, Worldbreaker Hulk fights gods and then beats them down to where he tells them to sit, and they listen on the daily. They listen because they know if they don't, they'll still get the hands. So even though it does depend on the variant of the Hulk, I still say the Hulk's got this. What do you guys think, though? So here we have, between Conquest and the Thing, who wins. This person also says they think it might be Conquest, so they're sure there's some version of the Thing out there that puts him on par with Superman because of some reality warping BS. Well, have I got a treat for you. Y'all remember this version of the Thing whose body's entirely made out of Infinity Stones? And you're right, he is reality breaking, and as overpowered as he sounds. Every single stone in his body holds the power of the Infinity Stones.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
The Infinity Thing doesn't even need to be the variant of the Thing going up against Conquest either. See, Conquest would be having a tough go of it either way, because y'all remember last week when I made a video about how the Thing put the absolute smackdown to the Hulk and Thor after Johnny's passing because he was extremely depressed? They might have been letting him get his licks in still. He was able to deal damage to those two, which not many people are able to do. It'd be tough for Conquest. Infinity Thing would still no-diff though. What do you guys think? Another tough one. Out of these four Robins, who's the strongest? The reason why it's tough is because the answer is it depends. Are we talking overall? Or are we talking about the time that they're Robin for? And I'll tell you right now, it is not going to be Tim Drake's Robin. He might be the smartest out of everyone here, though when we're talking about physical strength, even as Red Robin, Tim Drake doesn't win this. Now, if we're talking overall, then Jason Todd as Red Hood probably is the strongest one here. I say that because remember when Bruce Wayne had passed and then Jason Todd took up the mantle of Batman and then proceeded to whoop every single other Robin at the same time? In an alternate timeline, Damian Wayne, who would have been around the same age as he was then, had already surpassed Ra's al Ghul and taken over, and Jason Todd beat him and everyone else at the same time. And even though Damian Wayne had been training as an assassin since birth, when we're talking physical strength, it's not him as Robin. Dick Grayson fought all the other Teen Titans at once and won, then fought the greatest assassin. As Robin, it's Grayson. As adults, Jason. So here we have, out of all of these, who in each row is making it out alive. And honestly, it doesn't matter. All I want is this thing not to make it out alive. Doom might win this fight, maybe Magneto, I'm not sure, doesn't really matter. The point is, make sure that MODOK doesn't. I mean, look at that face. God damn, you're ugly. Hey guys, I just want to tell you real quick that I appreciate you for watching through this video, and if you do enjoy animation, weeb things, nerdy things in general, please think about subscribing. Also, Into the Spider-Verse was the best Spider-Man movie, don't at me.